The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys!
This is Mick Shots.
Streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app.
And now your hosts, Mickey Spagnola, Everson Walls, Nate Newton, and Bill Jones.
And we thought it never rained in Southern California, but that got dismissed this morning when it came down pouring for about 5 minutes, Nate Newton, as we get going here on Mick Shots on DallasCowboys.com. Mickey Spagnola, Nate Newton here in training camp where the tennis courts are soaking wet. Nate?
You know what? I was saying my prayers at that time, right? And I actually thought, I said, who is throwing some food up on my, up on my balcony? Because I keep hearing, bah, 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 and I'm thinking seagulls just pattering around out there. You know what I'm saying? Then I open my mouth, I'm like, God, it rained. In the midst of all these prayers, it rained.
I was walking back for my workout, and I was just crossing the parking lot, and I felt a couple drops. And I said, okay, that's cool. We're going to get a few sprinkles, right?
Yes.
And by the time I got to the top of the steps to go in my room, it's pouring down rain.
Wow.
Lasted all of 5 minutes.
And y'all can't see our equipment out here. It was saved by Josh and by Chris Beam, our producer. It was saved. Oh, Josh, yeah. So they saved our equipment. Me and Mick would have been blanked out today.
Or we would have been sitting in wet seats, right?
Yes. They took care of us.
So,
they took care of us.
Anyway, that's the weather report from Oxnard, California, as we get going here on Mick Shots, brought to you by Miller Lite. And this will be our last show of the week, since our next day to do the podcast would be Friday. But we are taking off around 10 o'clock in the morning to head to LAX and head home for the Cowboys' first preseason game. Cowboys had a padded practice yesterday on Tuesday. It was kind of a long practice, Nate.
Yes, they did. Yes, it was a long practice.
And one thing I've noticed, and we're, they got pads on.
Yes,
They're not supposed to be tackling, but I'm seeing a lot of contact out there, especially in some of the special teams drills, as a matter of fact.
Mickey, this is where I tell young guys and I tell veteran guys, protect yourself. The competition for the first time, and I don't know how many years, even with Coach McCarthy the last 2 years, the competition is so high. The stress levels are up. Now, you may not see a lot of fisticuffs, but guys are fighting for the bottom half of the roster. This last 20 players, the coaches has overemphasized, hey, guys, we're going to give you opportunity. You may only get 1 rep or 2 reps per session, but you're going to have to show us something. And some guys are taking it right up to the edge, and sometimes they're going over.
Yeah, and I noticed when they do like 3-on-3 special teams,
Yes.
and they're going down to cover a kickoff or cover a punt, they're starting to hit. Now, not tackling the ball carrier, but jostle with the guys that are trying to block or get away from blocks.
See, when you are Steven, the guy John
Stevens.
When you're that guy, or you are even what's our number 2 pick a couple of years, a corner, Joseph.
Right.
You have to understand, Joseph understands who he is. He is here because of great special teams.
Right.
So when he is locking up with guys, he's trying to show the coach that I'm still your guy. And C.J. Goodwin is another guy. These guys are not playing. This is their job. So when you come lollygagging down the field, they're going to be very physical with you. And what that sets a tone. And the young players be like, okay, maybe I can be that guy. Because a lot of these guys already know, Mick, that they're on the practice squad.
Right.
And they don't want to stay on the practice squad. They want to be elevated to always having a shot at that 53-man roster come game day. So it's getting physical, and it's good. Our competition always brings out the best.
And these types of guys, and we'll get into it later in the show, the preseason games will be big. I know everybody goes, preseason game, they're not going to play any starters, but we'll get into some guys that we think you should probably follow. Now, a couple things happened in practice yesterday, and I'm really amused by it sometimes. So when the Cowboys kickers struggled on Saturday, combined, they made 10 of 21 kicks. So that would have been Tristan Vizcaino and Brandon Aubrey. It was big headline in the paper, right? Mm-hmm. And then the next day, when they released Vizcaino, and they did it about 5 minutes after our show finished, right?
Yes, sir.
That was another big headline. Rookie kicker, only one left, right? Well, yesterday, Brandon Aubrey, the only kicker left, the rookie, former soccer player, hit 11 of 11 field goals. Do you know where that showed up in the paper? Briefly, at the bottom of the notes, that he made 11 of 11 field goal attempts. And I just laughed because I know what the Cowboys were trying to do. And people really don't understand the win situation here for these guys. The field goals over on the next field over there, they were the ruin of many a kicker out here because of the way the wind blows into them, right? And not only in their face, but it swirls up top. And you got to be careful. You got to kick a really strong ball to power through. And if you don't do that, that thing's blowing all over the place. So a good day for Brandon Aubrey. All his kicks were between, I get it, 33 and 43 yards. But he made every one of them. And what they were trying to do is reestablish some confidence.
You know, my deal is this, Mick. And last year when you first brought that up, I started laughing. You know, that was my running joke with you.
Right.
You know. But this year I paid more attention. Facing the field, the left goal post. If I'm a kicker, I'm sorry, Chris. The left goal post facing the field, I would not kick over there if I'm a kicker. If they bring me in here, because I think we've probably gotten rid of some pretty decent kickers.
Right.
But that left goal post over there, you can see right now no wind, but every now and then you'll see it swirling
up top.
The flags swirling up top. And I'm saying, is it that much difference in 20 feet? And it is, because both of these guys are capable kickers. But not on that far goalpost, and I don't believe in curses, but it don't work over there.
The ruin of many a kicker, I'll tell you. And the funny thing, yesterday, when they started getting ready to kick, I was getting ready to walk around so I can see the distance, right?
Yes.
And Todd Archer, ESPN Cowboys, was already over there on the sideline, and he motioned to me, stay there. So I stood underneath the goalpost, right? At the crossbar. And when I'm standing there looking at him kicking, I could feel the wind on my back. But up top, those ribbons were kind of hardly moving. And I'm going, I know it's windy up there because I could feel it. But anyway, Brandon Aubrey had a really good day. Good confidence. And he's kind of got, it's funny, a lot of these kickers, the ones that were successful for the Cowboys, the Chris Bonios, the Dan Baileys, Maher, they all kind of got that same personality. They're very low-key. They don't say much, and it's all about the next kick. Well, this guy hasn't played that much football, right?
Right.
And when he kicks on Saturday, that'll be the first time he kicks in an NFL game competition.
Right.
Because he was in the USFL. But he's just like those guys. When we did the interview with him, and they were talking about, the pressure's on, and he goes, I got to flush the last kick, and it's about the next kick. It's about the next day. You got to forget what's happened, good or bad. And I'm going, I think I heard that before.
Yeah.
So somebody's taught him how to be, I think.
Yeah, the mindset. I mean, I never was a kicker and never was good enough or athletic enough. I tried kicking a couple of times, but I was a straight ahead type guy. So, but I'm just going to leave it up to Coach Fossil. He always seems to find the guy.
Right.
You know, our problem has been when a guy goes on a bad streak, we take a little too long to react sometimes. But other than that, he always seems to find the guy.
So they want to see, and, talking with him, he was a soccer player, and somebody asked him about the pressure play in soccer. But the pressure play in soccer, you got to make the team, but it's still you're in the middle of a team deal.
Right,
you're not out. The only time in soccer you're out by yourself is the penalty kick,
yes,
right?
Right.
And I'm sure those guys think they should make every one of them, right? Not everybody's Messi, right? And so
it took him a while to get that final championship, right?
Right. Yeah. So anyway, that was the kicking deal. The other thing from practice, and we probably should dispel that. The center, Tyler Biotish, rolled his right ankle, left for a while. My understanding is he'll be fine.
Yes.
And they'll give, today it's a walkthrough practice, so they won't do much. They probably won't do a heck of a lot on Thursday. Friday will be an off day to travel. And he's not playing in the game on Sunday. Saturday, I wouldn't think. And the other one that caused the stir was Mozzie Smith. Missed practice yesterday. He went to do an MRI on his knee. And anytime you hear MRI and knee, it's never really a good thing. Well, he ended up participating in the evening walkthrough. I was told that it's basically a little bit of tendonitis, and it's really nothing to be worried about. He just had some discomfort, and anytime your first-round draft choice has a little discomfort, there's probably, I don't want to say overreaction, but
that's what it was.
You're going to be cautious, right?
This year, when you got tendonitis, that's something it only going to get worse over the years, not in no recent.
Right.
Yeah,
and the only thing that you got to rest it, right?
Rest.
So anyway. He should be fine. I would imagine he plays on Saturday too.
He needs to ramp up. Some guys gonna need more, but he's gonna be your guy on first and second down. And talking to Coach Quinn, they really is trying to hammer that home to him to start getting his steps right. I talked to the Coach Floyd, the defensive line coach, and he said, Nate, this kid say, I'm beginning to believe when he say he don't like football, but he like beating on other men. I mean, he does a great job of beating on other men. We just got to get him his technique down.
Right.
And get him to believe that if you beat this guy, then why not go in and tackle the back? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Don't just worry about holding up a double team. Right. Now we need you to make some tackles in the backfield. So if that was a scare, it shouldn't be a scare.
Right.
He was fine. See who else missed. I know it was the wide receiver, David Durden, rookie free agent.
Mm-hmm.
He caught a diving touchdown pass on a deep ball in one of their situations where it was 4th and something. But when he landed, his head hit the ground.
Wow.
So I would imagine he's in concussion protocol. They brought him into the tent, and he didn't practice again. And I would imagine he doesn't play on Saturday. Oh. And he was starting to have a really good camp, too. Kind of an unknown guy. I think he was a baseball player, and he gave up baseball to try his hand at football. He played at West Florida. It's probably Division II.
Yeah.
And so, that was the one injury that I think they were worried about. Also, Wanye Thomas kind of got run into during special teams drill. They brought him off and started doing the eye test for concussion protocol. Not like before when they said, how many fingers do I have up, right?
Right.
And so, but he went back and finished practice. So from an injury standpoint, Schoonmaker was out there actually in pads and took some reps, made a nice diving catch in one of the situations. And Tony Pollard, they expect him to be back today. He was witnessing the birth of his first child. So from an injury standpoint, Jordan Lewis is still doing rehab work. Maybe next week. I think he's starting to get closer to getting back out here. And he's going to have some work to do, by the way, when he comes back out, because Deron Bland's kind of solidified himself as the third corner, and Eric Scott is making moves, and Nashawn Wright they're giving a lot of reps to. So you're smiling. Do you think he's in trouble?
Nah, my boy, he'll come through this if he's physically ready.
Mm-hmm.
Because some guys are so mentally strong and so hyped,
right,
that they'll fit right back in. But what I like about this competition is sometimes Jordan Lewis will try to do his own thing, and it gets him in trouble. Well, now he knows he's got a thin line for mistakes, so he's going to be even ultra-focused, even more focused. So I'm looking for this team to crank up if he can get back out there and get into a normal rhythm, because we don't know if they're going to, give him a little bit, take him out. You know how they do.
And they've got to do a ramp-up, right?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Well, the ramp-up for Schoonmaker wasn't very long.
No, he's a young blood. He's a young blood. He's big. He's physical. The dude is huge. The dude could play some tackle, for real. If he so desired,
right,
he probably could play some tackle, man.
And that's what they need from these tight ends, right?
Yes.
I mean, I always thought last year that Ferguson was their best blocking tight end, and he's having a nice camp. Hendershot's having a nice camp. You mentioned John Stevens. We'll talk about him as one of the players to watch. But also the other big deal out of training camp was that Trevon Diggs had 2 interceptions of Dak Prescott. Leighton Vander Esch had another one. So 2 of the 3 interceptions, by the way, and one was on a deep ball into that stupid wind. Right? Came up a little bit short. And the one that was down the sideline on the other way, he was throwing a CD. CD just kind of gave up on the ball like it was going out of bounds. And then it didn't go out of bounds, and there was Diggs making a catch.
Let me, Mick, I think you may care a little bit more than me, because I always look at practice as what it is, and it's only practice. Fans don't look at it as practice. They look at it as a continuation of the game.
Right.
And you shouldn't do that. Do we need to get out of here and get into
No,
a break?
I think we're good. So go ahead. Finish your thought.
But if Dak throws a bad ball, and I'm always looking at the situation, who the players was, and why he may have done that.
Right.
So once I figure that out, then I become critical or non-critical. And when a receiver stops on you for whatever reason, he felt he got held, he ran a bad route, that's not your fault. But if the DB makes a play on your ball and it's there for the receiver too, it's just who wanted the worst. And I don't judge a quarterback until the games start. And when he start playing, then I will start judging him. But a young guy, I may judge because you don't take chances, or you just don't sling balls out there because you're trying to make the team. Dak is working. We don't know what he's working on during that day. Well, I'm going to work on this. I'm going to do this. You don't know what he's working on, because I do it as an offensive lineman. I need to work on my left hand today. I need to work on my inside power step. So whenever I get these opportunities, which are few, I do. And we don't know what Dak is working on. We don't know what him and the receivers are working on. So I'll be patient out here in training camp. Just Nate. That's just my opinion.
And a lot of times when the quarterback's looking at it and he's thinking, okay, this is a 50-50 opportunity,
right,
he's going to throw the ball.
Yes.
He's going to it's practice, right? You try to test yourself on fitting into a small target, or give the receiver a chance to make a nice play. Now, what didn't get reported the whole time are the 2 times that Dak burned Trevon Diggs on deep passes that would have been a touchdown. One to Michael Gallup that Diggs must have gambled on because he was open by 10 yards.
Yes, he was.
Right? And then there was one to Cooks on a deep ball that he beat Diggs. So no one talks about those. It's just like the field goals where we started, right?
Yeah.
It's like, well, we talk about the misses, but yeah, he made 11 out of 11, big deal. Well, how many times does Dak connect on a deep pass that ends up being a touchdown and Diggs is beaten? But he's making nice plays. That's good, right? This is a team thing, by the way.
It's competition all the time. And Dak is a great player. Diggs is a great player. CeeDee Lamb is coming into his own, getting up on that status. So, you know, Cooks is smooth. And so, you know, like I said, I look at here and I take practice with a grain of salt because situational football out here is a little bit different in the game. If he was doing this in the game, believe me, we would all be in an uproar. But this is not a game. This is practice where he's trying to better himself. And believe me, I talked to Dak yesterday. He knows and sees and hears all.
Yeah.
He's very aware. And but he also understands that he has to get better at what he's doing. And sometime out here, yes, you take that chance.
All right, that's Nate Newton. I'm Mickey Spagnola. More on Cowboys training camp coming up on Mick Shots.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com is one of the most trusted ways to buy, sell, and trade crypto. Whether you're always on the go or stay closer to home, Blockchain.com is just a few taps away. Put the power of crypto in your pocket, so no matter where you are, you can trade on your terms and build a crypto portfolio to fit your life. For crypto pros, rookies, and anyone in between, Blockchain.com makes it easy to own a piece of the future. Blockchain.com, trusted by millions, trusted by America's team.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with pre-game sideline access and photo ops with current players, cheerleaders, and Cowboy legends. You want to stay at a team hotel, attend the best tailgate party in Texas, tour the Star, and talk X's and O's with me, Everson Walls? With Star Sports Tours, you can. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby! The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Back to Mick Shots.
K-Post Roofing and Waterproofing, the official roofer of the Dallas Cowboys. And we continue on Mick Shots, presented by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. Nate, it says it's Miller time.
Yeah, man, I'm drinking my coffee.
I'm drinking my water.
Yeah, I just kind of gave up the drinking maybe 8-9 years ago, and I've had enough Miller. Believe me, I've had enough Miller to cover 3 or 4 people, bro.
And we continue here on Mick Shots out in Oxnard, California, where we had a little runaway shower this morning. Tennis courts, but it rained enough. There's puddles on the tennis courts.
Oh, yeah, man. It's flatland out here, so it holds water. It holds water. A little bit they get, it holds for a minute. I mean, even the fields are damp.
Yeah,
so,
I bet the fields liked it, right?
Yeah, they're like, man.
Sort of like at home, the only water the grass gets is what comes out of the ground, not what goes into it, right? I wonder when was the last time it rained back home.
Man, Wiley is cursed. I mean, we've had it go all the way up to the edge of Murphy, and it's like you see, say, Wiley city limits, and down a drop of rain is on that side. I'd be like, wow, we cursed, baby.
Goes on the other side of the line.
Stays
right?
on the Murphy, then jump over and goes to Lake Lavon.
Anything else in practice that jumped out at you yesterday?
I just need Mick for our offensive line to set the tempo. The first 2 days of padded practice, they set the tempo. But lately here, it's been the defense that is setting the tempo. And once again, I talked to Dan Quinn. Well, I don't really talk to him. I shoot little statements out, and he'll throw them back, and we'll keep walking.
Right.
I said, Coach, first few days, I was worried about the defense. I said, these last 3, what has happened? Have you been cussing them out, talking to them hard, saying whatever? He said, no, Nate, they just understands as we put the system in and put little tweaks in, it may not look good at first, but as they go over and over, they get better and faster. And so their tempo has been set in the practice tempo. You notice even in pressure when it's linebackers and everybody's in and Dak has got so many seconds to get it out, it's 4 reps before we can get into any tight rhythm. We cannot have that. You're practicing wrong. What we need to be able to do as offensive line is to make sure our quarterback is not backpedaling while he's throwing those first few reps so he can get confidence in the front. His receivers, because they do 7-on-7, red zone 7-on-7, and he's sharp. But then when he gets into the team aspect of it, sometimes he's not as sharp, and he's a little bit off kilter because of that pressure up front.
Right.
Now, I understand that number 11 can probably go right over there to Minnesota, wreck their practice, go to Washington and wreck their – I know who number 11 is, but we're starting to have leakage from the middle too. So our guys in the middle have to be very confident in what they're doing because Coach Solari is doing a great job of teaching them technique. When you have a great player, and I'll use Leon Lett, he was my nemesis. His arms was this much longer than mine, and so I always struggled with him. But I believed in my technique that if I work my technique, and fight him as hard as I can, I would get better. And over time, I did get better. So these guys, I'm telling them, just keep working your technique, keep fighting, and it'll change over. So our quarterback can feel good, so our tackles cannot have to play 2 ways, the inside and the outside. They can just play for the outside. So I'm praying it will get better. I'm praying that Coach Solari, with all of his energy, will get it in these young guys' mind. And preseason is big. We don't know who our starting inside right guard is. We don't know who that guy is right now. We don't know who's the swing tackle is. So this is big for these young guys, and I know that these coaches are being honest with them. Like, fellas, we need for y'all to be the best you can be.
So at one point yesterday, without Zach Martin here, and then at one point they didn't go heavy with Tyron and Tyler out on the left side.
Right.
So they were giving them sort of a break. And then Biotish hurts his ankle.
Yes.
And I'm looking out there, and it's like 4 of the 5 offensive linemen on the first team were basically backups because you've got Ball working at right guard in place of Zach Martin. The only starter out there at one point was Steele.
Yes.
And I'm sitting there going, well, no wonder there's pressure on Dak because one of those deep balls, actually 2 of them, there were people in his face, and if it was a game, he probably would have thrown the ball away.
Right.
But these guys, it was like, okay, now good and bad. Bad that it kind of messes up practice because you're going up against the Cowboys' defensive starters, but good that these guys are getting reps because, as you say, they've got to figure out who's the backup guard, who's the backup center, who's the backup tackle, and these guys are getting a lot of reps out there. I was going to ask you about one guy that caught my eye. It was their, I think he was the 5th-round pick, Awesome Richards.
You're talking about number 76.
76.
Left guard.
Right.
The thing with these young guys is they have never dealt with this type speed. Especially the guys are just as big as them, much more knowledgeable at this time. So they're not used to the speed. So whenever I see Mr. Richards struggle, just much like Smith did, I mean, what's our last first Tyler did last year, speed. Speed will always get you because that's where technique has to come in. And so He's doing okay. T.J. Bass is doing okay. You know, people say, I saw him get through on his neck.
Yeah.
Everybody get through on their neck as rookies the majority of the time, unless you was a Tyron Smith. You didn't get through on your neck. So everybody goes through it. Everybody gets knocked over. Everybody has to learn that, okay, what I did at Nebraska ain't happening here in Dallas Cowboys football camp. What I have to do is be a better technician, keep my behind. They can do, but I caution everybody, until the second preseason game, don't start judging these guys, because the first preseason game, they're going to see the speed, because all of the other great players around the league, young or old, is going to be in there, and they're going to get a full blast of the speed. Now, they're trying to figure it out while they're trying to go wide open. So the plays are going to be simple. They're going to let you try to use your athletic ability. Then the next preseason game, you'll be like, okay, no matter who it is, you know the speed of it. Now you feel freer in the heart to play. It's a growing process, Mick.
So with those young guys that are out there, I've noticed that they've moved Josh Ball from tackle to guard.
Yes.
And he seems to be acclimating a little bit better now. It's hard. I mean, he's 6'7", 6'8".
But still, space kills some guys. And I'll give you a perfect example. All of you true Cowboy fans that know the history a little bit, Kevin Gogan started out as a right tackle.
Right.
And they moved him into right guard because space kills. People don't understand the foot work between a tackle and a guard. You can get guys like the president, Zach Martin. You can get Larry Allen, guys like that who's just so gifted, athletically gifted. But then you get guys like Eric Williams, left tackle, it wasn't nice. Right tackle, he couldn't be stopped. He was premier. He was it. So everybody don't fit everywhere, and that's why I'm cautious when people start saying, well, just put him over there at left guard. You know what I'm saying? When you have a Tyler Smith, am I pronouncing that right?
Tyler.
I don't know why I'm
Tyler and Tyron. It's not easy.
I hate that they both on the same side. But anyway, I like that they're on the same side, but the names get me. You're fortunate that you got a guy that you drafted in the first round that can play both.
Yeah.
He can play both positions and probably will be good over time, equally good for a number of years at both positions. But one day it's going to come a time where he ain't going to be good at both. And so we have to find out which one he is best at, let him get good at that, and stick another guy in there, because we're forgetting about Foniak.
Yes, and they're trying to figure out, is he the backup center or is he the backup guard?
He's both. I'm beginning to believe this right here. If I don't see a vast improvement, because even I have to remind myself, I cannot judge right now Ball or Velasco.
Yeah.
I cannot judge these guys until they've been given an opportunity to play.
Right.
Velasco has to play right tackle and has to get 2 preseason games in. Josh Ball has to get 2 preseason games. Now, if they giving them only 2, no, give these guys a half this first game. And then the next game, give them a half. Let them get in a rhythm. Let them play. Because if you don't, and they just get touches of it, then get out, they haven't learned. They haven't got no muscle memory. They can see it on film, but their body didn't really get a chance to feel it.
Right.
And so we got to give these guys a chance to feel it. So we may not see a lot of T.J. Bass or a lot of Richardson the first game, but the second game we may see more of them, because if these 2 guys I spoke on earlier say looking good, you're like, okay, they getting it. Now we can take them out early and give these guys a chance.
And that's a good tease for where we're going with our next segment. Guys to watch coming up in Saturday's preseason game against Jacksonville, 4 p.m., AT&T Stadium. We'll do that next here on Mick Shots.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com is one of the most trusted ways to buy, sell, and trade crypto. Whether you're always on the go or stay closer to home, Blockchain.com is just a few taps away. Put the power of crypto in your pocket, so no matter where you are, you can trade on your terms and build a crypto portfolio to fit your life. For crypto pros, rookies, and anyone in between, Blockchain.com makes it easy to own a piece of the future. Blockchain.com, trusted by millions, trusted by America's team.
Hey, Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with pre-game sideline access and photo ops with current players, cheerleaders, and Cowboy legends. You want to stay at a team hotel, attend the best tailgate party in Texas, tour the Star, and talk X's and O's with me, Everson Walls? With Star Sports Tours, you can. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
Back to Mick Shots.
Do you eat, sleep, and breathe Dallas Cowboys football? Tell us how you spice up the game for a chance to be named the 2023 Cowboys Fan of the Year. Presented by Captain Morgan. And win exclusive prizes plus a trip to the Super Bowl. What? Plus a trip to Super Bowl 58. I'm going to nominate myself or another today at DallasCowboys.com/Fan of the Year. I'm telling you, I'm the biggest fan beside, well, Mike Irvin, I'll nominate him. Yeah, so yeah, let's do this. Fan of the Year 2023. Brought to you by Captain Morgan. Take a shot, Mick.
And that's Nate Newton at his best here on Mick Shots. We got a few minutes left, and we're going to get you ready for Saturday's preseason game at AT&T Stadium against Jacksonville. The Cowboys are treating that as an away game the way they would. They'll take off on Friday, go to the game Saturday, and return to Oxnard immediately after the game, which is one of the reasons why the game's starting at 4 o'clock, so we can get back here at a decent time, like maybe midnight. Right?
Yeah, and they'll be off that Sunday to get a good rest and be ready for probably a padded practice Monday, maybe. It's just Nate and Mick talking.
All right, so we're going to give you a few guys to keep an eye on, maybe younger guys. Nate brought up John Stevens earlier in the show, rookie, undrafted free agent from Louisiana.
Yes, sir.
It used to be ULA, right?
Yeah,
Louisiana,
so we'll start
Lafayette.
with tight ends. But my question is, Ferguson won't play. Will you think Luke
I don't think Schoonmaker.
He may not play.
Yeah.
Peyton Hendershot may not play. So we're looking at Sean McKeon, John Stevens, Princeton Fant, and Seth Green. Those are the guys, but I'm looking at Stevens and Fant to see what these two guys are going to do.
And Stevens is interesting.
Athlete.
He was a wide receiver.
Yes.
At Louisiana, and turn it over. What's his dimensions?
Yes.
He's probably about 6'4", 6'5", 250.
49, number 49. John Stevens, tight end, 6'6", 245. 23 years of age, rookie, Louisiana, undrafted free agent, 23.
And he told me, because when I see him out here, I mean, he keeps flashing, right?
Yeah,
and
big
he's
time.
big, right?
Right.
And I'm going, how did you end up at Louisiana? And he said, well, I had offers from TCU, Arizona State, and Florida State, but the guy that he was following was Billy Napier.
Right.
And he was going to Louisiana be the head coach. Now, he ended up, I think, getting hired somewhere in Florida, one of the Florida schools. Anyway, he went to Louisiana for that. And but there's something, I mean, they may not play him much. They probably want to get him on the practice squad. So keep an eye on that. Okay, another guy that I'm going to be interested in is Eric Scott, the 6th-round draft choice.
DBs,
they traded up
to
the first pick in the 6th round from Southern Mississippi.
It's too many of these guys to like tight ends. It was easy. It's too many of these guys to take up the whole show.
Right.
I haven't been paying a lot of attention to these guys, but 37 is a Scott guy, right?
Right.
He is nice. I've seen him get beat, recover. I've seen him put hands on people off the line and do a tremendous job. I think Coach Harris is kind of staying even keel with this kid because when you see this type of talent that's flashing, you want to get hyped up. But wide receivers and corners and offensive tackles, out of all the positions in preseason, they get the most ups and downs. Because 1 minute you're looking good at tackling, you done gave up a sack. That don't mean you're bad.
Right.
1 minute you know shut a guy down, and the next minute it's a bomb.
Right.
So the range of emotions are big. So you got to see how these guys work through it. I like this kid. I haven't talked much about him, but I just want to see, like Deron Bland. Last year I told Mick, I said, this kid should be starting. I think he should really push Lewis. And my other guy, he's no longer with us, my homeboy from Tampa, that I said, this kid should be fighting for a starting job. Well, lo and behold, our 2 guys got hurt, and now he is the starting guy.
He had to play, right?
I don't know if Scott is that good.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you know what the neat thing about him was with Diggs missing some of the OTAs and Gilmore needing to put him out there over. They had Scott working with the first team defense, and he made plays. The other guy that's caught their eye is Wanye Thomas, the safety, number 30.
I haven't seen much of him, so I can't comment.
Yeah, he's getting opportunities. Him and Bell at that safety position, especially with Donovan Wilson out. So keep an eye on number 30, and a guy that I just thought he was kind of here, but he's a fourth-year veteran, Sheldrick Redwine.
Okay.
He's made some plays, and he was one of the guys that put a lick on someone in one of the practices. So
in the scrimmage the other day.
Yeah, and I was thinking, well, this guy's an undrafted free. No, he's got 3 years of experience, so I'll keep an eye on him. And then I guess we have to, obviously the running backs, right? The young running backs. Pollard's not playing.
For me, no. For me, is Dottle and it's Malik Davis. That is for me. And now where the other kid that was drafted, where Deuce Vaughn fits in, he fits in. But if Tony comes back to form anywhere near 22 touches, whether it's pass or run, no more than 22 touches, you only have 6 or 8 more snaps. Now it's coming to who's the better third down back, who is willing to sacrifice his body to pick up a leaking offensive lineman or a blitzing safety or a blitzing linebacker. If you can find that guy between Davis and Dottle, we got our guys. And Deuce Vaughn, sir, I wasn't happy when they drafted you, but I see you're not a gadget back. I don't like gadget backs. Dottle can be a gadget back. Davis can be this guy can run the football. And that's what I want, somebody that can run the football and that can block a leak out of the backfield and help Dak with an outlet pass. I like football players, not gadget players.
Well, I would imagine he's going to get a good look. He's had some runs out here that you go, look at that. We saw it at K-State.
Yes.
And we've seen him catch the ball. He catches it awfully well. He's 5'5".
Yes.
And
but
he's always been 5'5".
Mick, his calves is probably wide as your body trunk, bro. I saw, now, please, y'all that are vertically challenged, this is no knock. But I saw him sitting in a chair, sitting in a chair. And he was talking to Nick Eatman. And I said, well, who is that guy? They said, Vaughn. Everything about him says man.
Right.
You know, everything about him, body-wise, he's just vertically challenged.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I was slimly challenged. You know what I'm saying? So if that's a word, I don't know how you say fat challenge.
I kind of like it.
Yeah. So he's every bit of a man. So, hey, let's see.
Okay, and there's another guy on the offensive line that I think needs to prove something. Chuma Adoga. They've got him out at tackle. They're looking for a backup tackle, and I would imagine he's getting a lot of snaps, but I just see sometimes he's a little slow out there. Am I being too polite?
You know what? Sir, we brought you in here because you've had more than 1 year in the league.
Right.
And
right.
I expect a little bit better.
Yeah.
Like we had a guy here a couple of years ago. He wasn't a great practice player, but he found a way to get through games. So I just want to see what.
We got to see him, right?
Yeah,
it'll be number 71.
Yeah. So maybe maybe when his lights come on,
yeah,
he a different guy.
Okay.
And that's what I'm hoping for. If not, then I got to pray that Walesko really picks it up. Because we need that swing tackle because Tyron is older. And I love Tyron. And he told me the other day, I'm going to play as hard as I can, as long as I can, Nate. But them days are starting to end. And so we need a swing tackle. We need one desperately.
Well, to me, if something happens to Tyron,
yeah,
Tyler Smith's your left tackle.
Right, then
and then you got to find me a guard.
Yeah, no, we got him, number 68.
Yeah, and Farniak.
Yeah,
right
that's our guy.
Right.
See, me, I'm not wishing for the moon because we don't have that much salary cap, and we don't have a trade, and we don't have a salary cap enough to go out and get that elite guy. So it's no.
And no one's got extra offensive linemen.
So we don't have enough in the draft capital or enough money. So we have to deal with what we have.
Develop.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
One more guy before we have to go. Number 83, Jalen Brooks, the wide receiver.
If he turned out to be one of those camp highlights, and this is one guy I'm banking on that is going to be our fifth receiver. He can play special teams, and he's willingly playing special teams. He is our fifth receiver. And if anybody go down, he can play all three positions. All he would need now is the experience.
And he's a larger receiver. I think he's 6'3".
6'4". I don't know what he is. He's
right?
this long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and somebody put this on him, and I was like, well, don't do that to this guy. They say, well, he's the next Noah Brown. He, right now, is a better receiver than Noah Brown.
We are so quick to say who somebody looks like.
Just because he's big, it's like, oh, he can block. And I always say, I don't want my wide receivers to have to block, right?
Let that be something that is a reward.
Yeah,
and what I mean by that is, if you block real well, then we'll throw you an extra ball. Don't be like, if you catch the ball, you have to – blocking is not what I'm getting you
Get open and catch the ball.
Give it to me. Give it to me. Get open and catch the ball, baby.
All right. Well, you remember that when you're watching the game on Saturday, 4 p.m., AT&T Stadium. Get open and catch the ball. And hopefully Nate Newton and Mickey Spagnola here on Mick Shots got open today and caught the show, right?
That's right.
All right. We will see you again next Monday from Oxnard, California. And have a good Wednesday.
Fan of the year, Nate Newton.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!